Hello, my outstanding friends. I have been posting on a page called Geology, and very, very nice, allowing me to make my points. And I am finding that Menticided is so strong in geologists and people that believe they know about volcanic dikes, and I mean, they come up with the names you can't believe. Now, Mudfossils has changed everything, and I see a little bit of nibbling around the edges here, but most of them think that putting up these stupid little smiley faces make them look smart. They have no comments to make other than some stupid little smiley face, which shows how the depth of their knowledge it doesn't even skim the surface. They refuse to engage in looking at what is very hard to dismiss. One of them was about the geology at Yellowstone, where they did the survey, and they found it. Well, I'll show you what they did find. But it all started out with this picture here. And as you Mudfossil people know, they're red and all this. These are tissue layers, and that is an abrupt transition. And I believe this is an abrupt transition between tendon and muscle. And there's always a transition zone, which is very abrupt and it's quick, that locks that tendon into the muscle. And then the muscle continues on from there. But the tendon is usually pretty small. And I'll show you some of the ones that I have here. And I'm going to sort of point out some of the people. Their mindset is, it's hard to understand people that will not question anything, that all they can do is repeat what they were told. That's distressing to me. And that is basically what I'm finding out. I went to Yale, I went to Harvard, I know everything. They told me everything to say, and I'm saying it. I said, well, what about the things I'm showing? Can we talk about that? No, because that wasn't in my book. That's not in my book. And what do you do about people like that? I guess you just let them roll down a road, as they're going to do. But I see that they think they're being real smart by putting up these little stupid faces. And it's absolutely meaningless. No conception of reality other than just to repeat what they've been told. Now, I don't find that very intelligent. I've been told a lot of things, and I found out most of them just aren't true. Anything theoretical, forget about it. Our historical, the history, ridiculous. There's so many things that just aren't right. Physics, the same thing. They're all trying to get in and nibble in at the edges because it's so wrong that it overthrows virtually everything that they have been throwing at you and forcing you to pay them, and then forcing you to repeat what they say. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. You can't bring up any discussion or you are in trouble. You're in jeopardy if you start talking about, well, what about dragons? What about giants? What about Roger, who has DNA certified giant human being body parts? They can be tested again. I'm not against that. If somebody wants to bring it up and say, that's all wrong, and that's all they ever say, you must have contaminated, you must have done it. No. You want to do it? You can do it. I drill in deep. I don't take it off the surface. Off the surface means nothing. I agree. But deep inside, you're going to get to a point where it's fresh. It's never been exposed to my fingers or to anybody. So, and you have to do it clean, and you have to do all the right stuff. But when you get inside and you get into arteries and veins and all that stuff, it comes out dense, and it comes out as high quality. So it's almost like you have the blood, literally the blood. And that's what I was told. My DNA tests came back as excellent quality DNA. Excellent quality. because I go deep inside. Excellent quality DNA doesn't come off of your fingertips. And it's really stunning to me. Every day I open up Facebook and they're just lost. I mean, as lost as people can get. But it's kind of fun. Okay, there is this passage somewhere in some ancient text somewhere to talk about Typhon. The only way they might have been able to stop Typhon was by opening up the earth beneath him. And that sort of did happen. Let me show you. All right, just so we don't get lost here. This is Typhon. And that's him right up here. And he's attacking the gigantic fish who apparently was Ares. And this was written about. Now we're going to go to Google Earth and we're going to home in on this, and I'm going to show you the Earth tried to absorb some of this stuff, I believe. All right, we know the fish is here, Ares. And Typhon is there, runs all the way across North Africa, and he's spitting his venom at the fish. Now, it hit here. Now you see this? I'm going to home in a little closer. Now the fish, quite obvious, is being attacked. And this yellow stuff is deadly. Now, here he is spitting out this venom. Now it's coming down. The earth right here is absorbing this. It's not, this isn't coming into this. Now let's back out of here now. Look at this carefully. That's Typhon's head. And this is all the nasty stuff coming down to try to hit this fish. And the earth literally is absorbing this. And the reason I know this is because it's downhill. And then it collected down in here. And we're going to go up close and look at this. So if this isn't just coming down at it, it's sucking it back down the hill. You see here? Where I am right there, that's 176 meters. Over here, you're like 150. And it just keeps going down and down. And then all that nasty stuff collected down in here in a pool of nastiness. Now, did the earth try to eat this to save the fish? That's some nasty stuff. Let's take a minute to look at that. That's not hills and valleys, my friends. That's some kind of nasty whatever. Now, it looks to me like the earth tried to eat that stuff, maybe to try to save the fish. It certainly didn't work. They're both deceased, as far as I can see, in the desert here. Now, don't forget, here's what it looks like. This is Typhon's head. All right, there's his throat right there. I've shown this many times, so people that have been with me should know this quite obviously already. He has a red flared eye, and all of this is the nasty stuff coming down at the fish, who is right here. So let's look at it. Here's his head. Here's Typhon's head. Let me see, can I get any closer than that? Well, let's just go with this. This is his head, and there's the nasty stuff coming down. There's the nasty stuff coming down out of his head. And his whole body goes forever. The fish is right below. It ate into the fish's body. But I believe the earth sucked some of it out of there. I remember seeing some passages somewhere about that the earth opened her mouth to try to save whatever. It goes a long ways away. But that's basically what's happening right here. Typhon spitting all his nastiness out, and the earth dragged a bunch of this off. That's the way I'm seeing it. The earth isn't spitting its stuff out into that. The earth is dragging this stuff off, creating that pool of nastiness. All right, this is just nasty, whatever it is. So, I don't know how much clearer I can make this. I've shown this so many times, it's just staggering that it hasn't been picked up on. And there's his throat, runs all the way down. This is just runoff of a dead, decaying, decomposing body. Forget about all that stuff. All right, all that down there is nothing. It's just runoff. There's his throat, and there's the scales. All of this was written about. This was written by Appolodorus, that he attacked, Typhon attacked the gods, and the gods turned themselves into animals to try to get away. And Ares apparently turned themselves into a fish. These are dragon scales. That's a dragon scaled throat. And it runs all the way down, all the way down. And it said Typhon was slashed by Zeus with his great and mighty sword. And you end up with red and black blood from the artery and the vein right there, and that's what killed him. And he runs all the way across North Africa. And this is the end of the tail over here. And it looked like his tail got cut too, because it's got some nastiness coming. You know, blood has that look to it. So he probably was slashing with his tail and so forth. Anyway, that's the tail, and it runs all the way up, back all the way up to his head. And all of that is the extreme venom. You see that stuff? This was coming down at the fish to try to kill it. And that's not your average, desert. And it came down, and then it started to try to get absorbed. And it didn't absorb enough, and it got through and ended up eating into the fish's flesh. That's the fish's flesh right there. That's the fin. That's a kind of a really keratin, hard substance. But once it hit the flesh, it ate right through the scales. You see these? I believe these are the scales. They overlap just like that. That's the way scales do. I think this is the eye. This I don't know what to say about that. There's this thing here. I've looked at it carefully, and there's some exotic action going on here. And this here, they're mining all in here. What this stuff is, I don't know, but you can see. I mean, it's no question it's biology. What type of biology? I don't know. And why did it all collect down here? I don't know. But let's just not worry about it, because I don't know what it is. So from here back, we're looking at the fish. All right, from here over to here. And it comes down here. His tail runs around, right around here. There's the bottom of his belly. And I think there might be some fins down here too. But I'm not sure. But the scales are here. And the scales are going this way, which means the fish is going that way. Otherwise, the water would open the scales up. So he's heading this way, trying to get out of town, and Typhon got him. And it's got right down to his blood vessels. Again, I've shown it many, many times. But I learned so much from this, because I can see the actual arteries. I can see the actual blood vessels, the littler ones coming off. And where they meet these black lines are the veins. And I can actually see the capillaries, and even the lymph ducts. And here and there, I think I can pick up one of the vein valves, because they have valves. I think it might be right in this area, one of them, maybe right in here. But they have areas where the blood has to go only one direction. And all these little tiny lines are the lymph ducts. It just ate the scales right away with that noxious whatever it was. And I can actually, over here, I can see the lymph system actually working. Right there, where the green is almost well, it is invaded. It's invaded in. And the body somehow regulates how much lymph goes to where, because it's sending all the lymph over to this area to try to get rid of this green stuff. And the pink is the lymph. And what it's supposed to do is get rid of the noxious stuff in your body, and it's trying. And it's grabbing it. The pink now is turning green, and it's heading this direction down to the lymph nodes. You see? These are the lymph nodes. And as that this noxious stuff comes in, it's supposed to get filtered and then get processed, and then out it comes clean. Well, it didn't happen. It came down this way, noxious. All that nasty stuff has been brought down here. And it's entering here, and there's all kinds of little, you see these little filters? They filter back the big stuff. And it's supposed to be a cleaner. It cleans here, and then out comes nice, clean, pink stuff. Well, coming out of here, there's just dead stuff because it's dead. It's been killed. That's the lymph node. And we have them the same in our body. And there's just too much of it. It can't handle it. It's dead. You can't clean the lymph. You're going to die. Here's another one that got hit, another one got hit. They're all the same. They all have those same things. You can come up here. You Google Earth. You have the all of them. Very, very noxious stuff. So the people in geology and the geologists, if they look at this, well, just look at it. Say, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think so. I don't think so. And the dragon scales are very, very easy to see. Very easy to see. That's his throat. And this is the longest river in Africa, I think. And it runs all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. And it's called the Drak River, Dragon River. All the way up to his mouth. There's his red flared eye, exactly what Appolodorus said. He had a red flared eye. He was taller than anything on Earth. His head almost scraped the stars. His thighs were of human size. They look like human thighs if you uncovered them and saw them. I can see the structure of them, and I sort of understand it. You can see where he poops and everything. You see right out there? That's why it's so nice and green here. It has a cloaca, which means it was a reptilian or a snake or a bird. They have cloacas. And there's one side where the poop comes out, and this side is where the fluids come out. And that's why it's nice and fertile here. That's just the way it works. And you can follow all this stuff up. This is not, like I say, this is not hills and valleys. Now, if this is at least examined, and then say, oh, the guy's crazy because of this, this, or that. Well, I don't think you can make that claim now. If you look at the evidence is all that matters. You know, if you have a predisposition that you're a geologist and you can't, oh, I know all this stuff. Well, if you don't look, then it doesn't mean anything. It's a meaningless thing. Once you look, then you make a decision. That's the only way to do it. And I'm telling you, these geology pages, well, any page I go on that I start to show these things, they get very upset. And I mean upset in a, I'm not sure how they feel inside, but outside, seeing what they post against me, you can feel that hostility. So, and I understand that, because it changes everything they've ever thought. Literally everything they've ever believed, in one fell swoop. Okay, I just got a thing from a guy that, the one person that supported me on this, they just, why are all our science pages full of comments from escaped lunatics? It goes on and on. They were, okay, my friends, they really assaulted me, because all this is about what I posted. Crazy alert. Might be something wrong with you, this guy's telling me. I mean, the older our species becomes, the more ignorant we are. I agree with that. Then they go on about the flood and how, you know, you believe in religious stuff, you're a whack job. And anyway, it goes on and on. So it started by me claiming that this was actually blood running out of this tissue and some other stuff. This one here, look. And then it's hard to dismiss this. These little stupid faces they put, it makes them look smart. It's just unbelievable. These little stupid faces are everywhere now. And this is reality. This is right from NASA, who did the samples here on Earth from Bennu that they sampled, and it's 100% biology. And then I went on to show the samples that they actually have, and they are from the heart. So not a single one of them had anything about it. And you keep getting these stupid little faces. I'm getting a few people nibbling around at the edges, coming in. And here's another one I put up here, which was a little tiny video. I doubt if anybody watched it. But then look, look at this. You still get the same little stupid faces from people. This is not me making this up. That's a hip joint in space. Plus, they landed on there, and all the details are there. And this was from the one from NASA. All right, and here now I put up the dragon and the fish. Now they have Google Earth, so they should be able to come up here and look at this and make their own decision. I said what it is. I'm going to show you again. I've shown it many, many, many times, but you can't show it enough until people see it. Now, how this whole thing started was, see this cut right here? I believe that's the abrupt transition, just like here, between tendon and muscle, where you have a lot of red muscle, and then the other side you have tendon. Right where the abrupt transition is, one side is red and one side isn't. And that's what I saw, and I'm not sure I'm right or not, but that's what I saw at first. Whoops. How do I get out of this? All right, so that's what I was seeing here. So maybe I was right, maybe wrong. But I said, yeah, have a look at Mudfossil University. And then they went after me like unbelievable. This one here is unbelievable. All she's got to give is that kind of silly little face. Hold on a second. Here's meaningful comments. You keep sinking deeper into the pit of stupidity. Dude, this one, Anne Marie. She's something. Here I'm showing, this is from where they did the ground penetrating radar. All the critics are gone because there's nothing they can say about this. These are lungs. All right, and that's the heart. Actually splits apart between the black and the red. I believe it's the heart. And then you got the trachea that runs up, and up at the boiling hot pools is where it's letting off its heat because it's decomposing underground. Other places you just have a massive explosion. So I'm trying to show these things, and here she is another. I guarantee you she's in here with a stupid face. And it goes on. But they're very nice page. And, you know, people are going to have some harsh criticisms against you, especially against me with my things that I'm talking about. But these stupid little faces, they're meaningless. I want to see what happens on this one, because I showed here Typhon attacking the fish, and here's Typhon, so that they can come up here and look. Okay, those last couple of blips where a guy was, a friend wants to know what happened to Tyson, and just so that you all know what did happen to Tyson. He hasn't posted for, 10 months or so. I've been working with him here and there. We talk back and forth. He's he's a brilliant guy. And he's now looking into near-death experiences. And something happened to his computer, so he just sort of dropped that. But when I was working with him out on the West Coast, this is a membrane. All right, that is a membrane on the edge of the ocean. And I can tell that because you see these little ridges around? All those little ridges? That's not just rocks that formed there. This had a gluey substance on it, which made it into a membrane. And these little holes are where things pass back and forth. So I can't even imagine the size of the creature. This is one of the little spots I'll show you in a second. These little squirrely things that come up through. The rest is just biology. Now that layer up there, I believe that's another layer from the fluid-filled highway. And then there's still another layer of membrane down below this. I'm not going to get into the details now. I have many times. But to see these little edges, you see those little edges around there? At one time there was a slip of mucus basically on top, covered everything. So that it's a membrane, so nothing can get through unless it's allowed through by one of these channels. And the channels are these. All right, here's what a membrane looks like. You got this layer here, which is this. You got these little ion channels, protein channels. Things can come in and out. And the creature must have been stunningly large. Now then you got this thing here, whatever that is. And we got one of those right here. And 100% of the biology is 100%. It is what it is, and it is a membrane. And the size of that membrane, my friend, I think it was a little over 6 feet, or right around 6 feet, between here and here. That's just between the membrane and, I believe up here was where the surface of the, outer edge, the flesh, whatever you want to call it, the skin. And then there's a fluid-filled highway that protects you with the lymph and all that stuff is in there. And then below is the membrane that allows things to go from the fluid-filled highway in and out to service the cells that will be below. Everything you have in you has a membrane around it, 100%. And the things is just stunningly large when they were here. This shows you here. Here's, well, it doesn't show them. Well, here's what happens. Skin, fluid-filled highway, flesh, membrane, whatever. And all of that stuff is dropped down here. There's milky marbles. And that's what are in your skin. Underneath your skin, you can have all this stuff. So you can drift around and then come back to where it's supposed to be. People don't know this stuff. That's what's in your body. These are milky marbles. All the flesh eroded away. And you ended up with these little hard balls. Those are the little hard balls. And that's what anchors them into the body. But the body in this case is just eroded away. Now these are just And this is over in the United Kingdom. The balls are just fall into the bottom. And there's the skin, and there's where they were, just like they are here. Now, Typhon found this, and a bunch of other things. He found this one here. That looks like a colon or something, a big poop or something to me. And this kind of flesh is a softy flesh. You can I know the difference now between textures and all that. This is some kind of, it could be just a big, poop, or it could be the colon, something like that. He also found this. This is a perfect example. These are the tendon balls, and this one still has a strap on it. You almost never see that. This is the tendon ball. These are in the body. They're just those little tiny little dots I showed you, and this one still has a strap on it. And that's what they do. They hold you so you can move around, and that's some kind of soft skin. When you see that powdery looking skin, don't forget the ball and the strap. Well, let me show you where balls and straps are. Where are your balls and straps? Here they are right there. There's the balls and there's the strap running to it. And these are like springy. And then there's a bag of water in there. And now this is collagen. It's real floppy. But you got the springy ones and you got the balls. And there's a lot of them. And they just, the springy stuff washes away the collagen, and the rest is just fleshy. And once it washes away, you end up with the balls. What's happening here is you got different moss eating the balls. I'm going to show you ones up in Alaska. They're trying to eat the balls, but it's not the same kind of stuff because it's not in the salt water. Every one of these is the same kind of balls. Only they come out with, still have edible material on the ball, and they get attacked by moss, which is the same on every one of them. And I mean, there's a lot of them. These creatures were stunningly, exceptionally, unbelievably large. And this is why the average human mind just can't accept it. And don't forget, that's a pretty good sized dragon all across North Africa. And again, it was written about in the ancient texts. Now, this is where people that are creationists and, extremely religious Bible type people are going to have a hard time. And obviously the geologists, they're just pulling their hair out. But they realize there's not a human mind that can see this and totally deny it. It just can't be totally denied. The only way is for somebody to deny their mind from working. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Keep your mind working. Look at what you see. Think about what you see. Don't start with a mind that's already preconditioned, menticided. Because look at this. They didn't even know about this layer that I was talking about, the interstitium, until 2018. A newfound organ. It's your entire body, and that's your immune system. I think I showed how the lymph fluids work, but that's where they are right there. And they never even knew it existed. All right, so I love you all. Keep your mind open. And these stupid smiley faces, please, they mean nothing. They mean less than nothing. All right, I love you all. Bye.